Today's program focuses on the Battle of Ekiokpagha in Benin Kingdom, 1200 AD, according to Professor O.S.B. Omoyike, one of the noblemen in Benin Kingdom during the reign of Oba Ewędo. Odigie was confirmed with the title of Iyase in 1250 AD. Before he died in 1310 AD, he had built up army and was used in three memorable battles: Ekiokpagha, Oguola land, and Iyase. The first battle which he personally fought was the Battle of Ekiokpagha in 1255 AD. Ogiame II, using his Olia, known as Olia Ogiame, instigated this battle when Odigie stepped out in response and declared before Oba Ewędo, "Mevi Yokwo Giameno," which is, "It is between me and Ogiame's troops." He had counted solidly on the strength of the royal guards and other Ileme soldiers from Ebuya, Ugboha, Alaka, and Uselu, who were ready to bring their iron weapons into the fight. As they gathered on the plains of Ogboka, under the shades of the tall Okpagha trees, an advanced contingent of royalist troops went ahead to lie in ambush against Olia Ogiame, who was leading the anti-royalist troops. He had not reached Ekiokpagha before he was killed. His head was cut off and sent to the king. As soon as this was done, the anti-royalist troops capitulated and fled. Many of the soldiers were captured and held in Oba Ewędo's prison, which has borne his name, Ewędo, till the present day. Thus, it is often said that Olia Ogiame met his death before he reached the Ekiokpagha battleground. The victory of the royalist troops over the anti-royalist was a great relief to Ewędo. Thereupon, he did not hesitate to openly confirm the title of Iyase Odigie of Ebuya, on whom he had conferred it 5 years back as an encouragement in the planned encounter with Ogiame. After this event, anti-royalism died a natural death in Benin. The supporters of Ogiame, who did not die in the prison or were not used as sacrifice to please the gods, hid themselves from public attention or emigrated from the city into other parts of Udo land. The treaty with Ogiame II, which followed, was largely dictated by Ewędo, with Iyase and Uzama. Ogiame's authority was recognized in the villages of Ibonyanya, Utantan, Uhumidun, and Himi. The Oba personally poured the sand of authority over these areas into his hands. He was not necessarily to serve the king as the other vassals of the kingdom were doing. He was not given the title of Enogi over these villages so that he could not make permanent heritage claims on them. In status, Ogiame was to be of the rank of the Uzama. To him, known as Uzama Nibe, Uzama of the people. This made it for him to have it impossible for anything to do with the processes of the royal palace. His title, Ogiame, was recognized as hereditary. The Oba quartered his royalist troops, Isiemo soldiers, in Ibonyanya, where they would see that the terms of the Ekiokpagha Treaty were forever maintained and that Ogiamenism was not allowed to surface anymore. After Ekiokpagha, in 1255 AD, and until he died in 1310 AD during the reign of Oba Idoni. Iyase Odigie did not go to any war. His title of Iyase had been confirmed by Ewędo, and he was required to settle down to his normal political functions of being the mouthpiece of the king and the leadership of the people. However, the king's other son, Obobu, who had been brought up in the environment of the military, continued to be restive in controlling a group of the troops. The opportunity to lead the troops to a fight came when the Benin traders to Ala or Ila market in Orogodo land cried home in 1258 AD for protection against attackers on the trade route. Ala market was a flourishing center for collecting the iron materials from Oka and spreading them into the Benin markets for expanding the iron-making technology of the time, especially as the local source of iron ore had begun to decline. Oba was a warlike prince, the first of the kings to show that kings could lead their troops to war instead of waiting for their Iyase to do so. Unfortunately, he did not have the chance to rule as king in Benin. He overstayed his time in Orogodo land and came back long after his father Ewędo had died and his younger brother Oguola had been crowned Oguola in 1280 to 1300 AD. The Uzama nobles were said to have been in haste to crown the less belligerent younger brother so that, in case of a family fight, they would once again have the opportunity to mount the saddle for settlement and political authority. This conflict did not, however, take place because Oba showed great understanding. He felt the troops and humbly took what was left for him as the Enogi of Aviama. He settled quietly there for the rest of his life. The growls of the great nobles who had been stripped of power by Ewędo did not seem to be close to its end. Soon after the death of Ewędo, the militant Ozuere of Udo created his own Iyase in the person of Akpanigyakon and used him to threaten an attack on Benin in order to destroy it so that Udo could become the center of the Ubini monarchy. Some aggrieved Uzama nobles were believed to be behind Udo's forehandedness in this new wave of war. They had tried in vain to take advantage of seeming rift between Oguola and his other brother, Oba over the crown. They also thought that the army had been weakened by the exploit of Prince Oba in Orogodo land. They soon found that the calculations were in error, and that after an army had been constituted to do battle with Ogiame at Ekiokpagha and used extensively in Orogodo land, it was still strong enough to fight Udo and crush its pretensions. Instead of waiting for Akpanigyakon to bring the Udo war to Benin, the troops rushed on him at the Battle of Uweze in 1287 AD near Udo and destroyed his forces. The Battle of Uweze, later the earlier one at Ekiokpagha, was a decisive battle. Both Ekiokpagha and Uweze were the first trial battle of the Benin, under the Oba's rulership. Oliagiame, who led the anti-royalist troops, died before he stepped into the Ekiokpagha arena. So was Akpanigyakon killed before he stepped into the metropolis of Benin. Before he died in 1280 AD, Ewędo formalized the establishment of the two markets of Ekiokpagha and Ekioba in Benin, one on the eastern side of Alaka, where his palace was, the other on the western side. It did not live long enough to see to the development of Ekioba. It was until the age of Emotan in 1340 to 1440 AD that Ekioba actually began to flourish, as long as there were Okpagha trees, sink county trees, on the plains of Ogboka. The market described against these trees went on in its small way. When in recent times the trees were held down, the market ceased to exist. Iyase Odigie and Oba Oguola, the superintendent of Oba Oguola, 1280 to 1300 AD, was to revive the art and trade of Benin people. He was a man of peace, not like his other but displaced brother Oba, who had grown up in a military environment and was deeply belligerent. If the kingdom has grown ripe for imperial expansion, it was with Oba it would have started. It however had to wait some 2 centuries till the time of Ewa the Great in 1440 to 73 AD before such ventures could permanently begin, much as Oguola would want peace to reign in his time. He could not shut his eyes to the destabilizing threats which began to issue out from Udo, beginning from 1283 AD. By this time, he had settled the scars of his royal position on the throne with his brother Oba, and was ready to embark on his programs. His first thought was to avoid the temptation of using the army, but to dig a moat around the city so that the rebels might not be the people able to enter and invade, and between 1283 and 1287, he called for the digging towards off and being able to felt satisfied that he had rebels from coming in. The words kept memorably against his name. Liyizama ete, that is, I won't heed rebels anymore. Though the moat was dug around the city of Benin, the threat from Udo continued to disturb the air. Iyase Odigie then advised that the troops be raised up once again to respond to the call for the battle with Udo. The troops went forth before they arrived at Udo. Akpanigakon has gathered his soldiers in wait at Ueze, about 5 kilometers to Udo. A gruesome fight took place there in 1287, and after Akpanigakon was killed, Udo's soldiers dispersed. The Enogi of Udo went into hiding. The head of his Iyase, Akpanigakon, was cut off and brought down to Benin for presentation to the king. Oguola was greatly delighted at the victory. He then mocked Bidog by ordered that a second closer circle around the city to consolidate its protection against enemies, and gave him the time he needed for pursuing his arts and culture programs. By 1290 AD, this second moat was completed. During the remaining 10 years of his reign, Oguola expanded work in iron making, brass casting, trade linkage, and engagement in other aspects of technology such as carving, woodwork, and building. During this period, Iyase Odigie, who raised his career as a man of war, came back to his original skills as a man of technology. By the time he died in 1310 AD, during the reign of Oba Idoni in 1300 to 15 AD, Benin traders had begun to expand their activities quite extensively. Oguola's sons and Iyase Muzi, for about 20 years after the death of Iyase Odigie in 1310, no Iyase was appointed by the Oba. The first 2 sons of Oguola, Idoni, in 1300 to 15 AD, and Udagbedu in 1315 to 40 AD, who reigned successively after Oguola, did not have any important clue to the appointment of anyone. Their grandfather Ewedo had appointed Odigie in war crisis period. After Odigie's death, the people were not faced with any similar war-thrown experience to warrant the immediate appointment of an Iyase. Besides, the great nobles who were the king's immediate advisors did not feel comfortable with the Iyase title, which gave the impression of supremacy over them. So, Edoni did not appoint any in his time. After he died in 1315 AD, Udagbedo's younger brother, who reigned after him, did not appoint any until it was 15 years into his reign. Emuze of Itebite became Ewędo Iyase in 1330 AD. He continued to be Iyase in the Obas in Oba Ohan, the third son of Oguola, and he was killed by the king himself in 1384 AD. The murder of Iyase Emuze brought an unusual tragedy to person the existence of the king. So, also, did the Emuze as Iyase in Benin. Then, the end of the early Iyase period. The murderous death of Iyase Emuze in 1384 in the hands of the king, Oba Ohan, brought the early Iyase period to an end. It also gave the Uzama nobles the opportunity they had looked for since the stripping of powers done on them by Ewędo in 1250 AD. They had ignored the gruesome and fought with all open steps in the days of Iyase Odigie to destroy the enemies of the king and the kingdom. They had cooperated with Emuze, whose time as Iyase fell into the era when all rebellions were over and the nation had grown into a period of economic prosperity. Had the king killed the Iyase, the Uzama nobles would have let sleeping dogs lie. They would have overlooked the two existing serious violations made by the king. The third one, which made him a murderer, broke the common spark, so that they had to strike and kill the king. The three serious violations made by Oba Ohan was first, his marriage with Elere, the lady of Ute. Second, his new style of official appearance at public meetings. And third, his secret killing of Iyase Emuze. Ohan's choice of Elere as his wife was not the question in the grievance. The secrecy he built around it, by which he used a cocoa masquerade as a cover-up, was a serious violation of the nation's cultural procedure in any marriage of the king. The king was often seen to disappear from the palace to stay overnight with a lere at her home. If the king wanted a wife, all that he was supposed to do was to send for the lady and inform the parents with some gift to them. With Oba Ohan's method and the use of the Ekoko mass dance to cover it up, the Uzama nobles felt that the integrity of the state was at stake. They needed to show concerns because the failure of the monarch could have great repercussion on them. Rather than wash the dirt about it in the public, they preferred to be silent and see what could take place, away the attention of the public. The style of the king's appearance at official meetings was another question. Ohan was a handsome, personable, and well-built man. He ascended the throne in 1314 AD, when Emuze of Itebite was already 10 years as Iyase, living a companion of the Uzama nobles. His era was one of amazing trade expansion in the kingdom. The market routes to Oka for iron materials had been kept open after Prince Obuobu's exploit in Rogodo land. So were the route of the Douala traders of Borno State in modern Ghana, and routes to Uhe, Idoma, and Bida in the north, and Iwere areas of the south. After Ohan's 40-year on the throne, things about him changed. He got knocked down with a paralysis which he refused to disclose to the great nobles, and sought to keep with utmost but bestial secrecy. Not even the Iyase was privy to it. Yet they all and all the chiefs wanted to know why the king chose to proceed, every person in appearing getting seated on royal platform at official public meetings. This had not been the case with him in previous years. The nobles then urged Iyase Emuze to force himself into the king's secrecy and let them know why the king wanted to continue with such a violation. Iyase Muzi did, but he never came out into the open to tell his story. Ohan ordered him to be killed and buried immediately. Each time the great chiefs wanted to know what had happened to the Iyase, the king could claim ignorance. However, the cat was soon let out of the bag. Much to the dismay of the king, the great nobles then planned a vengeance. With a similar secrecy, they caused a deep pit to be dug under the king's seat on the royal platform. The pit was overlaid with weak wounds and which could easily give way any time. When it happened that way and the king fell into the pit, the Uzama chiefs killed him in the pit by throwing knobs of white chalks on him, and they covered him there. That was how Oba Ohan died. Had the king not gone to the stage of taking the life of his Iyase, the great nobles would have put up the first two violations marked by the episodes of Ozuere and Palace and Parents. After the death of Oba Ohan, the great nobles came back into full control in the nation's political affairs. Ohan had declared that his four sons, Ekiokpagha, Oibiru, Ogun, Iruge, would reign one after the other. The nobles had to observe this order, except that in the case of Prince Ogun, the only child of Ozuere of Udo, before she went back home, they thought differently. Though the nobles were on the political saddle once again, the only person they feared was the indomitable woman of the age, immortal of Ekiokpagha. This story was drawn from Professor OSB Omoige's work.